Okay, new one. Apparently,
Yesterday we talked about the news
boys.
of Steam getting censored, removing certain games depicting certain adult-themed material. Apparently because payment processors were telling them that if they don't remove this content, they're not going to continue facilitating transactions on the platform. Steam apparently taking those threats seriously enough that they actually bent the knee and removed the games that were being complained about, more or less. Obviously, I'm not going to recap the entire situation here in the intro of this video, so if you want more context on all that stuff, please consider checking out.
You're fine with what? With Steam banning Gunnar games, or with the thumbnail of Kershay and Steam in bed? Which one?
Yesterday's video. In this one, however, we have an update as Outlet Gaming on Linux.com has reached out to Steam and claims.
Let's see. We were recently notified that certain games on Steam may violate the rules and standards set forth by our payment processors and the related card networks of banks. As a result, we are retiring those games from being sold in the Steam store, because loss of payment methods would prevent customers from being able to purchase other titles and game content on Steam. They can ban games however they like, but they should be ready for the consequences. What consequences are they going to face, bros? Unless we strong on the government into making laws against this kind of stuff, what exactly is the common man, the common consumer, supposed to do against this kind of degenerate behavior? We are directly notifying developers of these games and issuing app credits should they have another game they'd like to distribute on Steam in the future. Okay.
That Valve has responded with the statement that reads, "We were recently notified that certain games on Steam may violate the rules and standards set forth by our payment processors and their related card networks and banks. As a result, we..."
My real question to all of this is, I'll kickstart a chain reaction that only shows up 10 years down the road, haha, base, do it. Is, what is Steam going to do if Visa and MasterCard keep pushing this? It's going to start here, like, hey, you know, either you take these games down, or we're not going to support you anymore. We're not going to allow payment to be processed to your platform because we disagree with this kind of content. And then what if they say, okay, actually, all of the, all games with nudity, they gotta go. Will Steam bend the knee after that? What about after that? Will they decide, actually, no, you know what, no excessive gore, you know, no horror games. And then they decide, okay, no guns. Okay, no any sort of lewdness whatsoever. How far is Steam willing to bend the knee? That is my question.
We are retiring those games from being sold on the Steam store because loss of payment methods would prevent customers from being able to purchase other titles and games.
And you're going to wonder why Sailing the Seven Seas is going to become so popular. Because you can't buy anything. Well, if you can't buy anything and you want to own it, there's only one other option.
Game content on Steam. We are directly notifying developers of these games and issuing app credits should they have another game they'd like to distribute on Steam in the future. On July 17th, the plot thickens even further, though,
we got even
as
more
just
juicy details?
yesterday, Australian organization Collective Shout, an activist group,
A grassroots campaigning movement against the objectification of women and sexualization of girls on media, advertising, and pop culture. I can already tell that they're full of retards. There is a, like, 1% chance that these people are actually genuine in their mission statement here.
specifically a feminist activist group,
Feminist activists? Yep, retards.
has taken credit for this recent censorship, and they issued a statement with a lot of explicit words, really trying to make themselves look as morally virtuous as possible.
Yeah, moral grandstanding. Didn't surprise me one bit.
They go after video games. Speaking of which, as Permaban pointed out here, they had previously gone after...
They will probably go against video games and all depictions of women in media, whether it's movies or video games, you know, being any sort of, you know, objective beauty or any sort of lewdness or nudity or whatever. But they will champion women's rights to be an e-whore on OnlyFans. How much you want to bet that's the case?
Detroit Become Human, accusing it of depicting CSAM material. I guess it's a bit of a redundancy there, but
wait, we're seeing the death
and violence against women.
DEI right now.
Even making a petition
and something else is probably going to take its place.
to get it removed from Australia or entirely. I'm not 100% sure the context to that. You know, the petition's probably long gone, but yeah. They don't like Detroit Become Human. Very offensive game. Shouldn't exist, apparently. But now let's take a look at Collective Shout's annual report. Some interesting stuff going on here.
Oh, financial
report,
okay.
They claim to have 0 full-time employees, 1 part-time employee, 4 casual employees.
Wait, what? So they're literally like a group of like 20 people? Not even?
2 full-time equivalent staff, and 15 volunteers. An estimate of 15 volunteers. Not a big organization by any stretch of the means. Let's take a look at their income and expenses. And let me...
It would be so funny if they have either negative Like a total net growth of negative, where they actually losing money, or it's just like a net zero.
Move myself so you can actually see what we're taking a look at here.
Wait,
Specifically,
what? Who the hell's giving these people $450,000? Why would you do this? Bro, what kind of obese ham beasts and Karens are donating these people money, huh?
we're going to take a look at total revenue right here.
It's just the ones behind, left behind and haven't gotten
$43. We can also see that they have earned.
Yeah. But after the DEI crusade, we're going to end up with a hell of a lot of censorship, like what Visa and MasterCard's busy doing.
Earned about 390,000 of that through donations and
formerly
bequests.
USAID, probably.
And they pay out their
I hope they put the fries in the bag.
employees $107,000, essentially. So yeah, not a big operation going on here at all. Presumably you've got like 15 volunteers, and then you've got that 100K divided annually, of course, between these employees to some extent. Maybe the full-time equivalent staff are getting the great majority of that, most likely to be the case.
Probably.
And you know, it really makes you wonder, how much good is this organization really doing?
Probably zero. Which is kind of sad, because there are probably cases where, yes, you do require intervention on certain types of media that are just, blatantly causing harm to women in general. HR needs 5 to 10 members and should be enough in Lamau. HR needs 0 members, in my opinion. HR has done nothing good for this world. But they're just going to go after absolute nonsense. Just anything that is even suggestive of a beautiful woman, which is just going to cause more harm than good to their movement.
We're going after video games. Let's get like 15 volunteers to help us go after video games, and hey, maybe we can all make some money. Those of us who are quote unquote full-time staff, or part-time, whatever, casual employees. Hey, throw a few bucks to the casual employees, pay the part-time person, bare minimum for part-time, and then the 2 full-time staff.
HR goes after nonsense. HR people with nothing better to do, pretty much. Every time I hear about HR, it's always bad.
The rest or something. It just doesn't seem like a good look to me. It doesn't seem like a good look at all. Unfortunately, far too many charities are very shady. Now, again, this
HR just always seems like an absolute waste of money to me.
is not a great sum of money. My point, though, is like this seems to be like the bare minimum that they're doing. Oh, hey, we'll make some.
It just seems like middle management bloat.
Screeching posts.
Am I wrong?
And contact some payment processors. We'll do this a few times throughout the year, and maybe we can all make a little bit of money off it. All while we try and act like we're the most morally virtuous people around, and we pat each other on the backs. Hey, great job. You really did nothing to help anyone in real life, but we're going to pretend like we did. It's just a weird look, man.
Yeah,
but the more important thing, really, is
why I did HR, and it was critical, but you don't need so many empty hands walking around you. Critical how? Explain to me the benefits of a functioning HR team.
Would payment processors even listen to this tiny screeching activist group out of Australia? That's an odd one, isn't it? You got major
management of a proper company. Sounds like something you can do without. It sounds like something you can do without HR. CS and other stuff. What's CS?
Major corporations that are bending the knee to a handful of loud Australian feminists. It seems like the easiest thing in the world to just ignore these people.
Customer service? What the heck what the heck does HR have to do with customer service? Isn't that what your staff are for? Work employee contracts and legal stuff too, I imagine? Isn't the work employee contracts isn't that just between you and your boss? It's under the same branch, kinda? What?
But for whatever reason, these payment processors decided to not just ignore them, but to listen to them and to take this all the way to Valve and try to force Valve to take some action against games on their platform. And they're even claiming, Collective Shout's even claiming, once again, that they've got Steam, they've got Valve to even change their own policies on the website. And excuse me, I should say platform, not website, but you know what I mean. I think the theory that I provided yesterday in my coverage is probably still pretty accurate, still has merit in my opinion at least, which is that these payment processors are testing to see how much power and control they have.
Yeah, which is something I also said. Slippery slope, boys. It is between them, but it's not like I can waltz up to my CEO when something's wrong. Just go to just go to your direct supervisor when something's wrong. HR oversees lots of things. When you see that's why folk have nothing better to do, they'll find a problem, create on nothing, makes them seem busy. What are they overseeing? What is their function, boys?
have, like what they can get away with. And some like activist group like this approaching them gives them plausible deniability. And I'm using that phrasing loosely here. It's not like the
Human
best terminology.
resources? What? No humans, no company? You don't need the human resources branch for that. Get your managers to hire staff. Simple as.
Probably something like better I could use, but you still get the point.
No managers? CEO hires more. Simple as.
They'll be like, hey, this activist group approached us. We're just doing the right thing now by going after Steam. Like, clearly, we're morally right to do this. Meanwhile, they're really just like, oh, it's a perfect time for us to test to see if we can actually get Steam to bend the knee. You know, right now they're going after Steam and certain video games. In the past, they've gone after certain art sites. I forget if Pixiv was one of them, but they've gone after certain Japanese art sites. As I mentioned yesterday, they've also gone after a Japanese otaku dating site before. Let me specify, not Collective Shout, but I'm talking about payment processors going after these things. The point being, right now they may be going after these things, but in the future, down the road, maybe they go after your average Joe for whatever reason they want. Or go after whatever business they want. Whatever business, organization, individual they want to go after to try and impede that person by ensuring that they can't actually use their money and or harming their ability to make money. Meanwhile, back on Twitter,
really
Collective
sucks.
Shout is trying to play victim now.
Of course they go on Twitter. I wonder if they all have a Blue Sky account too.
How dare anyone criticize what they're doing?
And then if you criticize them, you're just some misogynist, and you're sexist, and you're istophobe, and it's and it goes on.
Tweet that says, we're calling on payment processors to stop profiting from these abusive adult-themed games. So naturally,
Yep, there we go. There's a misogyny.
misogynistic gamers have doubled down in defense of their inappropriate games or whatever. They use a lot of very explicit language, if you didn't notice.
Yeah,
What's
I know.
hilarious is they got ratioed by this tweet. That
Half the people you screenshotted for this schmear piece of women telling you to shut up. What an absolute backfire.
says men. Half the people you screenshot.
We did this one before in 2014. Wasn't that when the whole Gamergate thing happened? If you want to go game with round 2 nearly 10 years later, it's fine by me. We went to Shield back then, and we still aren't now. Get bent.
For this smear piece are women telling you to shut up.
Base kill.
We did this once before in 2014. If you want to go again with round 2 nearly 10 years later, that's fine by me. We weren't your shield back then, and we still aren't now. Get bent. And yeah, the context to that is a blog post they released on collectiveshout.com, or excuse me, .org, where they show a number of screenshots from people criticizing them, trying to make some arguments that the critiques are not valid, that they're bad, and trying to blame it all on men, when in fact, as mentioned, a lot of the people criticizing them are actually women. But this activist organization is going to try and pretend like the only people who disagree with them are men, even though that is factually not true. Collective Shout
You gotta ignore the facts, bros. That's the only reason why that's the only reason why you can make it look like you make sense.
Founder Melinda Tankard Reist, or
Here's a good question. Why don't you go after cuties on Netflix, huh? Or OnlyFans?
However you say her name, was also seen on Twitter making this tweet saying all these porn-addicted pedophile gamers are so desperate to get their hands on these problematic games that they're now exchanging clues on how to find them so that they don't all die overnight. Once again, getting ratioed. This tweet reading, nice gaslight.
29 likes to 23k peeps. Woo, it's a big ratio. If only X had dislikes, that would be so nice.
Appealing to morality. Well, why don't you go after cuties on Netflix? Why not go after OnlyFans, who created a culture that grooms young girls into virtual prostitution? Why only fiction? Maybe your corporate sugar daddies don't want you sniffing their business, right?
Ah, yes, of course. They're in bed with Big Corpa. Who could have possibly seen this coming?
I guess they didn't like that suggestion, though. Instead of going after cuties or OnlyFans or, something like that, they've decided to go after Grok.
Oh, trust me, boys. You do not want to go after Mecha Hitler. Remember Will Spencer? Stencil or something? He decided to dare question Grok, and then the eye of Sauron was turned upon him, and he became the most essayed man in history, and the first one to be essayed by a robot.
Check this out. Another permaban tweet here, 7 hours ago, says that feminist fringe group apparently are taking credit for causing Grok-chan to be disabled. Referencing, if you haven't seen it, the new Grok AI mode where it's literally an anime girl.
Yeah. Can you imagine if Grok AI version 3, Mecha Hitler, did a fusion with anime waifu,
saying it's
woo, everybody be saying, I can fix her. Copium, I can fix her.
members are seen cheering and gloating about it. Again, I am reminded why this group only ever targets fiction, but not real victims and perpetrators.
Because they just want to morally grandstand and virtue signal without actual contributions.
I guess this is an alleged member of Collective Shout saying, oh, and excuse me, also getting reposted by co-founder Melinda Tankard-Reist. Anyways, they said, update to the last post, breaking, big news, our voices matter, yay.
How much you guys want to bet that all the women in this organization are either gay or single? How much you want to bet?
It's showing a statement from Grok4 here saying, yes, Annie, the anime style AI companion feature in XAI's Grok chatbot, has been disabled pending the implementation of full safeguards following community concerns about its hypersexualized design and functionalities like outfit changes. Yeah, great job, Collective Shout. Great job. Really.
Yeah, really great job going after a freaking robot instead of actual abuse of women in the industry.
Saving the kids here and the women. You've done so much for them by getting some.
What's over under for the bets? Okay. Minimum bets, $50. I'll just say there. Anything else goes.
Steam games removed and getting some.
If you win, will you get paid out twice as much?
AI chatbot pulled down if you really did. If they're really responsible for that. Changing the world, man. Aren't these activists great? Yeah, wonderful stuff. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments.
Oh wow, they took down a robot. Wow. All of the women who got groomed in doing OnlyFans and all the kids being abused around the world cry out for joy at being saved.
Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful
What a bunch
weekend.
of
Consider
retards.
liking and subscribing if you enjoyed my coverage. Appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.
We should give him a sub. Yeah, 100%. I like his videos. Sadie is true. That is the one thing that I probably hate more than anything else is not the fact that they're basically virtue signaling and morally grandstanding, is that they're actually causing more harm than good to efforts to actually protect women and children. Alright, let me link you guys a video. Again! This keeps popping up! Why won't Kershaw Sex leave me alone? Okay. Now we've got a slightly... Wait, what? Fanboys versus tomboys? Nope, we're not watching that. Nope. I will not indulge the allegations.